Last time, when we were with you, we spoke about a phase before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's birth. A phase before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's birth. And that phase was how Abraha overthrew Riyadh, and how Abraha became the leader of Yemen on the Ethiopian army. And we mentioned that An-Najashi, the Ethiopian king, he got so angry and mad on Abraha how he threw his own general. And An-Najashi made an oath and a vow that he'll go all the way to Yemen and shave the hair of Abraha and step on that hair on the soil and land of Yemen. And Abraha has no challenge. There is no challenge for him in front of the king of Ethiopia. So I had to surrender and submit to him. And what did he do? He done two things to please the king of Ethiopia. He shaved his hair, and he sent with his hair a bag of the soil of Yemen. And he sent it with a messenger to the king of Ethiopia. And he told him, "Oh, your majesty, I've heard of your oath. I know you're angry. I know you are very mad and upset. And because of your oath, I want you to fulfill your oath and vow. And here is my hair. And here is a soil from Yemen. And you can put my hair at the top of that soil and step on my hair so you could fulfill your vow." And he also sent him a letter with nice words, interceding and asking for his forgiveness and showing his loyalty to him. So at the end, the king of Ethiopia accepted that letter from him, and he accepted to assign and endorse Abraha as the leader and the general of the Ethiopian army and the governor of his own government in Yemen. Abraha is still in doubt. Abraha is still in doubt. Maybe the king is still upset, still angry. In any time or second he could throw me out, cast me out. In any time or second he could overthrow me. In any time or second he could come. So what did he do? He wanted to impress the king and show him more of a loyalty and do things that will impress the king and make the king forget about the mistake that he did. So what did he do? And that event has a history in our Islamic history. And it's an event that even verses came down, revealed in the Qur'an al-Karim, describing such event. What Abraha did, he built a church. And obviously, the Ethiopians at that time, they were aligned with Caesar and Rome, which Caesar is the Roman emperor, and they were aligned with Rome. And Rome was a very dominated Christian country and state and empire. So the Ethiopians were aligned with Rome, and they were Christians themselves. So what Abraha did, he built a church by the name of Qulais. That church was the biggest church ever to be built in the Arabian Peninsula, as a respect and loyalty to the Ethiopian king. This way, maybe it's a way that he could give a gift to the Ethiopian king, and the Ethiopian king can forget about any wrongdoings that Abraha did. And not only that, but the oath that Abraha did, he will build the largest and most biggest and greatest church ever been built in the Arabian Peninsula, and he will force the Arabs to start turning away from Mecca and the Kaaba to the church Qulais. So his oath was not only to build a massive and great church, but his oath is to turn the Arab and all the pilgrims who go to Mecca, to the Kaaba and to visit the Kaaba, to turn them away from the Kaaba to this church, which is the Qulais. And he did. He built a massive church. Never ever been before in the Arabian Peninsula. Now the news started to come out, and Abraha, he's a dictator. He's not just going to tell people if you like to come. He's forcing people to come. No more Kaaba, no more Mecca. You want to perform pilgrim? You want to perform pilgrimage? You come to the Qulais. Now the Arab, if they are stubborn these days, you should know about them those days. The Arab were very stubborn. And things like that, they don't take it easy. One of the Arab from the tribe of Nasi, which is one of the respectful tribes, that the Arab used to ask judgment from them in certain particular events in their lives. One of the Arab clicked it, if you want to call it. He couldn't accept the fact that Abraha comes out of nowhere and he wants to turn people away from the Kaaba. He wants to build a church, let him build 1,000 churches. That's his business. But he wants to turn people away from the Kaaba to come all the way to Yemen to this church, Qulais. He's not going to accept that. So what did he do? He went into that church and he done his natural call in that church and he grabbed his feces and started to rub it on the walls and the pillars of that church. It's very filthy and ugly and disgusting action. And it's not a way to deal with matters, but that's what this Arab did. Now this is not an easy thing. And Abraha, hearing such thing had taken place, very disgusting and humiliating to his own church, Abraha found out who was behind it. It was an Arab. And the drive that made the Arab to come and do such dirty and disgusting and filthy action to his church is because Abraham made a vow and made a promise that he'll turn people away from Kaaba to this church, Qulais. And for that, Abraham wanted to retaliate. But if that Arab did a little, well, Abraham, he's a big general and he's a dictator and he's a very powerful army man. So he wanted to retaliate a lot bigger and greater than what this Arab did. What Abraha intended to go out with a massive army that maybe the Arabs or the Arabian Peninsula never experienced such great army walking in its deserts. And he went towards the Kaaba to destroy the Kaaba. If that's what you want, then not only I'm going to turn people away from the Kaaba, but I'm going to go all the way with my army and demolish this Kaaba and get rid of this Kaaba and not even let it exist anymore. And yes, he did walk out of Yemen and he signed his son to take care of the affairs of Yemen while he's absent from Yemen, and he walked towards Mecca. Now Abraha doesn't have much idea, or his army, his Ethiopian army, don't have much idea of the Kaaba and where the Kaaba is and the structure of the Kaaba. So obviously he wanted some help. And on the way Abraha is going from Yemen towards the Kaaba, Mecca. Obviously the Kaaba is in Mecca. Many of the Arabs heard of what Abraha is intending to do. So some of the Arab tribes came out fighting Abraha. But no doubt there's no challenge. What's a tribe? The biggest tribe, or probably all the tribes put together, all the Arab tribes put together that surround Mecca would not even come a quarter of the army and the professional or the well-talented or well-trained army of Abraha. Abraha has a massive army. And his army has been very well-trained, soldiers, generals. The Arab were just Bedouins, just fighting however it comes. Many of the Arab tribes came out to fight against Abraha. And as I mentioned, there was no chance. There was no chance to defeat Abraha. And Abraha would defeat every tribe that would stand in front of him. Until he went to Ta'if. In Ta'if, Abraha asked the people of Ta'if, where the people of Ta'if surrendered to Abraha. They didn't fight him and they said, look, you are our great one and we respect you. We're not going to fight you, we're just going to follow you. Because there's no chance for them to fight Abraha. So Abraha asked from the people of Ta'if to guide him to Mecca and to show him where the Kaaba is. All the people of Ta'if refused. They said they considered that as to be a big betrayal. This is, betraying our people, and this is khiyana. We can't do something like this. But one man out of all of them, one man by Abu Rughal, he accepted to guide Abraha to the Kaaba. And subhanallah, on the way from Ta'if to the Kaaba, on the way from Ta'if to Mecca, that Abu Rughal passed away. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took his soul and they buried him between Ta'if and Mecca.